Sean Spicer, former White House press secretary, senior advisor and spokesman for America First Action PAC. Sean, welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, what do you make of the Mattis retirement? We're being told he was upset that he was never consulted on the troop withdrawals from Syria and possibly from Afghanistan, and he's kind of leaving under a cloud. What's your take?
Well, I don't know that he's leaving under a cloud. General Mattis has served this country since he first enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1969. He is within the Marine Corps, within the military, considered, sort of as close as you come to as a god. Right. He's inspirational. He's a true leader. And I think clearly he had philosophical differences with the president. And I think, look, I hate to say this, but this is the right thing to do. I'm disappointed because I have tremendous respect for him, and I think he's done a lot of good for our country and for the DOD. But there comes a point in time in anybody who's serving in an administration that if you don't believe that either your thoughts or views are aligned, which is what he said, then you have to do the right thing, and you have to step down. So I respect his decision, but I think that the president also kind of needs to understand that General Mattis, he selected him for a reason. Right. Because of his experience, because of his leadership, because of his understanding not just of the military, but of the geopolitical situation. So that given, Sean, should the president maybe have consulted with him before making this decision? I don't know what did or did not happen. Right, I don't want to second-guess the president's decision-making, but I do think it's important to pause and recognize that there's clearly something that I think needs to be looked at, if you will, in terms of what that relationship is. And if you want people to serve, maybe having some of those discussions on the front end and saying... Right. Well, they're there for their expertise. That's right. But at the same time, I don't think that this decision came lightly, meaning that I do believe that the secretary and the president and probably a lot of others within that sphere, foreign policy and military, had several discussions. My guess is, having watched some of this evolve over the first several months of the administration, is that they did discuss it. They just vehemently disagreed about the outcome. Right. All right. I've got to move on to the government shutdown that's looming. The clock is ticking, midnight tonight. The president, very clear. Yes. I will not pass the spending bill unless I have funding for my wall. Is he right? Yeah. And what's the end game? Because, look, we know the Democrats are going to get control of the House. That's right. That's key, because that means that this is it. If you don't, we've been talking about for the last 2 years that next time. This is it. If he doesn't get something this time, Nancy Pelosi's not going to move anything. Right. Right. So if you don't stop and fight now, it's a shame that it has to happen this way at this time. But at the end of the day, this is an issue of national security. It's a human trafficking issue. It's a question of whether or not we're allowing drugs to come over the border. I think that we're messaging this poorly. This isn't a discussion about a physical barrier. It's a question of whether or not we are looking at our southern border and protecting our people, protecting other people who are being trafficked over the border. Right. But the president is right to fight right now, because this is it. If you don't get it now, then I think he's going to go into his next re-election. So does Mitch McConnell go nuclear and say I think at some point they may try to figure out, is there a deal to be had? Meaning, is there a way that within the 9 Democrats that you need, if you're not going to get them, if there's no way, then I think you do have to seriously consider that. No other compromise? Can you get funding for it from somewhere else? Well, that's what I was going to say. If they can find a way to get 9 Democrats to agree to some scenario, then I think that obviously is the better way to go. But I don't know that Chuck Schumer and those Democrats have any will, because even the ones that would have been supportive of Manchin, McCaskill, they just either lost in the case of McCaskill, or they just got reelected and they have no desire they're not going to be up for 6 more years. So there's less likelihood that those individuals that would be more inclined to side with the president have any incentive to do it.
Does the government shut down? Yeah, I think so. I think it shuts down tonight. Does the president ultimately get the funding? I think so. I think it's going to shut down. I don't know that it's going to be that long, but I think at that point then it becomes a discussion between him and Senator McConnell about whether or not to pull the nuclear option. And if you're not going to stop and fight now, when are you? Very quickly, you have a podcast that a lot of people are enjoying. It's called... Everything's Going to Be All Right. I love that title.